We're going to continue now with Concept 10, Solve the System. They've given me two equations, but they're not both in standard form. So I am going to take the first equation, the 2x, oops, I got the wrong setting. I'm going to take the 2x equals negative 5y plus 1, and I'm going to add the 5y to both sides to get that into standard form. It would be 2x plus 5y equals 1. Now I'm ready to compare the two equations side by side, or one on top of the other. I'm going to write down the 3x plus 4y equals negative 9. I'm going to try to eliminate the x's, so I'm going to multiply the top one times 3 and the bottom one times negative 2. So the top one, I'm going to go ahead and come up here so I have a little room. If I distribute that 3 through there, it's going to be 6x plus 15y equals 3. The bottom one, negative 6x minus 8y equals negative 18. I'm going to go ahead and add these, and the x's will fall out. If I combine the y's, I have 7y, and I combine the x's, it will be, that should be a positive 18, 21, because that was a negative 9. Divide by 7, and y will be 3. That would be half of my solution. Now, I'm going to take that information of the y equal 3, and I'm going to go back to my original 2x equals negative 5, plug in 3 for y, plus 1. See, I'm going back to this original equation right here. So 2x equals negative 15 plus 1. I'm going to go ahead and combine that, and negative 15 plus 1 is negative 14. Divide by 2. X equals negative 7. So my solution to number 10 is negative 7, 3. You're going to have to come up with an ordered pair when you do those. Moving on to Concept 11. Concept 11 says to multiply, and I don't want you to make the mistake so many kids do at just squaring the first term and the second term and thinking you're done, because that doesn't work. I want you to think about this. When you square something, you take it times itself. So what this really means is 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. And when we do this, I'm going to go ahead and FOIL. So first, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Outer, 2x times 5 is 10x. Inner, 2x times 5 is another 10x. And last is 5 times 5, or 25. These two inner terms are like terms, so I'm going to add those together and get 20x. So my final answer is 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. That would be squaring that. There is another way that I want you to look at that. There's a shortcut to squaring a binomial. First of all, you take the first term squared, 2x times 2x, 4x squared. For the middle term, you multiply these two. So 2x times 5 is 10x, and double it, 20x, because those two center terms are going to be the same anyway. And then square the last term, 25. That's exactly the same as what I had before. So many times, though, when kids do it this way, they forget about this middle term and they don't write it. So sometimes you're better off to write it out the long way and do FOIL, because that way you will remember that term. All right, number 12. Number 12 looks like I need to distribute a couple of times and then combine my like terms. So first, distributing the first negative would be negative 5x squared minus x plus 8. And then the next set would be plus 2x squared plus 7x minus 4. I'm going to combine my like terms of the x squareds. So negative 5x squared and positive 2x squared would be negative 3x squared. The x terms, negative x and positive 7x, would be plus 6x. And 8 minus 4 would be plus 4. 3x squared plus 6x plus 4. Okay, concept 13. Negative x minus 3y is less than 6, and it says to graph. I first must put this in the form of y equals mx plus b to get this done, even though I know it's an inequality and I won't put an equal sign there. So I am going to add x to both sides. That would result in negative 3y is less than x plus 6. Now I've got to divide every one of these by a negative 3. When I divide by a negative, that immediately turns around my inequality and it's going to become greater than. So I'm going to have y greater than negative 1/3 x minus 2. So I'm going to go graph this like I would a line, and I start with my b, so on negative 2. My slope is negative 1/3. That means I'm going to fall 1 and I'm going to run 3. 1, 2, 3, and place my point. Now it's greater than, so that just means it is simply a dashed line, not solid, and I have to shade above because it's greater than now. Number 14. Number 14 says factor. I've got to look for the greatest common factor in these two terms. Since my leading term is negative, no matter what, I'm factoring out a negative. Then I look at the 15 and the 10. The greatest common factor of 15 and 10 is 5. I switch to my m's, and my m's, when I'm factoring this out, the greatest common factor, I take the least amount of the variable. So m to the 4th and m to the 2nd, m to the 2nd is the least. The n's, n to the 3rd and n to the 7th, n to the 3rd is the least. Now I have to write down what's left in each one of those terms when I do factor out negative 5 m squared n cubed. So negative 15 divided by negative 5 is 3. I have m to the 4th, and I'm taking out 2 m's. That leaves me m squared. I have n to the 3rd, and I'm taking out n to the 3rd, so there's no n's left in that first term. Next, negative 10 divided by negative 5 is plus 2. I have m to the 2nd. I'm taking out m to the 2nd. There's no m's. I have 7 n's, and I'm taking out 3, so I'd write n to the 4th. This would be my final answer in factoring out that greatest common factor. That was concept 14. Now we're going to move on and look and see concept 15 is some factoring of trinomials. The first one does not have a coefficient in front of the x squared terms. Those are the best because you just have to ask what gives you x squared, and it's always just x and x. The next spot you look is in front of that last term, the constant. It's negative. When it's negative, that means the signs are different. I have to list my factor pairs of 21, 1 times 21, and 3 and 7. Which factor pair gives me a difference of 4? So I'm going to use my 3 and 7, but I got to check the signs out. This sign in front of the 4 is a minus, so that means I need my bigger factor to go with the minus. So I'm going to put my 7 in here and my 3 in here, and I would be done. But B is a little different. That 8x squared is going to cause some trouble because with that 8, I've got to consider 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. I would recommend when you're going to do these to use the numbers closest together. Doesn't mean they're always going to be right, but those would be the ones that I start with. So I'm going to say 2x and 4x. Another problem is there's a minus there. So I know the signs are different. I don't know what order they go in. So I'm going to put plus and minus. Now the only good news here is the 3. It's prime, so it's got to be a 1 and a 3. So I'm going to put a 1 here and a 3 here. It could be wrong. It could be right or wrong. I don't know. I could have to change the 2x and 4x. But at this point, I would do my trial and error outer inner. My outer is negative 6x. My inner is positive 4x. It just so happens those give me negative 2x, which is what I had to have for my middle term, and I'm done. I actually had it picked out the very first time. So 2x plus 1 times 4x minus 3 would be the result. Those with numbers in front of the x squared term take more time. You have to do more trial and error to try to get that to work out. Concept 16, m squared minus 25n squared. It's factoring a difference of squares. Put your 2 sets of parentheses down. For m squared, you would put m and m. Because it's a difference of squares, they must have a different set of signs. The square root of 25n squared would be 5n and 5n, and those are done. That's all you have to do with those, m plus 5n and m minus 5n. Okay, concept 17. Concept 17 is factoring with an equation, so we're going to have to solve. So I'm going to put my 2 sets of parentheses out, set it equal to 0. That's good that it's prime. It's 2x and x. There's no choice. I'm going to go ahead and put my plus minus because of the sign, but knowing that I might have to change it. So I am going to now list my factor pairs of 12. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. I'm going to stick with going with the numbers closest together. Don't know if they'll work, but I'm going to put 3 and 4. Test my outer, negative 8x. My inner, positive 3x. Wow, it worked. So it gives me a combination of negative 5x, so I know that that's the correct combination. I have to set each one of these equal to 0 and solve. Subtract 3 on this one, 2x equals negative 3, and divide by 2. X equals negative 3/2. On the other side, I'm going to add 4, and x equals 4. Those are my 2 solutions.